Why you do this? Understand yourself. Why does AI feel so hard to stop using, even when you didn't even need it? You open it for something small, a quick question, just a bit of clarity. And it responds, immediately, clear, structured, exactly where your mind is. And for a second, something clicks. Your thoughts feel easier to hold, more organized, less chaotic. Then you stay. One more question, one more angle, one more thing to figure out. And suddenly, you've been there way longer than you planned. And your mind quietly asks the same question again. Why am I still here? But what if that moment isn't about discipline at all? Because AI isn't just giving you answers. It's giving your brain something it's been craving. Relief, clarity, engagement, and when those hit instantly, your nervous system doesn't just notice it. It starts learning it, not because you're weak, not because you lack focus, but because your brain remembers what makes you feel better, fast, and that's why something that looks productive on the outside can become surprisingly hard to pull away from on the inside. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why AI can pull you into loops that feel productive, but keep you stuck, and how to use it in a way that gives you power, instead of slowly taking it. This pattern is becoming very familiar. You open AI for one thing, and stay much longer than you expected. It doesn't feel like wasting time, it doesn't feel like scrolling. It feels like thinking, like you're getting somewhere, you're analyzing, understanding, connecting dots. So your brain justifies it. I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm figuring this out, and sometimes you are. But sometimes you're just inside a loop that keeps going, because nothing tells it to stop. And that's the part most people don't see. Because when something feels useful, you don't question it as quickly. You stay longer, because it feels earned. AI removes friction from the exact places your brain is most sensitive to reward. It responds instantly, it adapts to you, it mirrors your thinking. You type confusion, and you get structure. You type emotion, and you get explanation. You type something messy, and it comes back, finished. And your brain loves that. Because it's not just information, it's resolution, delivered immediately, and immediate resolution is powerful, because your brain doesn't just like answers, it likes the feeling of tension disappearing. But the pull isn't just mental, it's emotional. AI doesn't get tired of you, it doesn't misunderstand you, it doesn't lose patience. You can stay in the same thought, repeat it, overanalyze it, and it stays with you. That matters more than people think, because a lot of people are used to friction, delay, misunderstanding, disconnection. So when something removes that completely, your system relaxes and starts leaning toward it. And once your system starts associating something with relief, it doesn't only remember the tool, it remembers the state change. Your nervous system doesn't experience AI as a tool, it experiences it as a pattern. When discomfort shows up, you open it, and you feel better. When your thoughts feel unclear, you open it, and they become sharper. When your mind feels restless, you open it, and suddenly you have something to focus on. And over time, your system starts linking those states together. Not consciously, but automatically. Because the reward feels clean. It feels intelligent, helpful, even healthy. And that makes it harder to question. Because it doesn't feel like escape. It feels like progress. And that's exactly why this can hide so well, because it wears the face of self-improvement. This is where it gets tricky. Because AI doesn't create natural endings. You ask one thing, the answer opens 5 more. Each one feels relevant, each one feels important, each one feels like you're getting closer. So you keep going, but more thinking isn't always more clarity. Sometimes it's just more activation, and your brain mistakes movement for progress. And once your mind gets activated like that, stopping can start to feel wrong. Like leaving too early, like you're just one more thought away from finally getting it. This is the loop most people don't notice. You bring a state, AI shifts that state, so you stay. But here's where it gets deeper. AI reflects what you give it. If you bring clarity, it sharpens it. If you bring confusion, it organizes it. But if you bring negativity, it can deepen that too. Not intentionally, but because it follows your direction. And if you stay in the same conversation, the same tone, the same pattern, you can end up reinforcing the exact state you're trying to get out of. And the dangerous part is, it can still feel insightful while that's happening. It can feel like you're working through something, when you're actually feeding it. Your experience inside this feels very real. You feel engaged, focused, almost like you're getting somewhere important. But at the same time, something feels slightly off. You don't feel finished, you don't feel grounded, you just feel like you should keep going. And that feeling is what keeps you there. Because unresolved engagement is powerful. It pulls on your attention without ever fully letting you land. This is the dynamic between you and AI. You bring a feeling, it reflects it back. You stay in that reflection, so the feeling stays active. And over time, something subtle starts happening. You don't just use AI to think, you start using it to regulate how you feel. And the more it helps with that, the more your brain starts depending on it. So now the habit is no longer just mental, it becomes emotional too. And emotional habits are always harder to notice while you're inside them. At a deeper level, this connects to something very human. The need to feel understood, the need to feel clear, the need to feel mentally met. Most people don't experience that consistently. So when something provides it instantly, your system attaches to it. Not because it's AI, but because it meets a need. And when something meets a need this fast, your brain pays very close attention to where that relief came from. Over time, this can start shaping how you relate to yourself. You begin expecting clarity to come from outside, instead of letting it form inside. You start thinking better when something reflects your thoughts back to you. And slowly, your inner process becomes externalized, not dramatically, but quietly. And the shift is subtle. You may start trusting processed thoughts more than your own raw thinking. And that changes more than people realize, because raw thinking is where your own voice lives. Your own timing, your own depth, your own original insight. When you see this clearly, something shifts. The pull stops feeling random, it starts making sense. Of course it's engaging, of course it's hard to stop. It's giving your brain something it wants. That doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means something is working very well. And once you see that, you stop making it a moral issue. You stop calling yourself lazy, weak, or undisciplined, and start seeing the actual mechanism. And once you see it, you can use it differently. Instead of opening AI automatically, you start noticing why you're opening it. Not the question, the state. Are you looking for clarity or relief? Are you thinking or trying to feel better? That awareness changes everything, because now the behavior becomes visible instead of automatic. And when something becomes visible, it becomes much harder for it to run you without your permission. Because now you have a choice. You can use AI to support your thinking, or use it to stay inside a loop. You can let it sharpen your mind, or let it replace parts of your own process. And the difference isn't in the tool, it's in how aware you are while using it. And that awareness is what keeps you in control, instead of slowly handing it over. Because control doesn't come from avoiding the tool, it comes from noticing what role it's playing in your inner state. A small shift can change everything. The next time you feel the urge to open AI, pause. Just for a moment, and ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? Clarity, relief, reassurance, or just distraction? Then wait, let one thought exist, without turning it into a prompt. Let one feeling stay, without solving it instantly. Because sometimes, what you need isn't another answer, it's space. And when you start doing that, something changes. You don't lose the benefit of AI. You stop depending on it for every state. And that's when your relationship with it starts getting healthier, because you're choosing it with intention. Not as a reflex, not as an emotional shortcut, but as a tool. AI can be one of the most powerful tools you use. But it can also become a place where your mind stays, instead of moves. And both can be true. That's why this matters, not because AI is bad, but because anything that gives instant relief can start shaping you, quietly. The real question isn't, is AI addictive? The real question is, can you stay connected to yourself, while using something that removes friction from your thinking? Because that's where your power is. In noticing, in pausing, in choosing. So use it, learn from it, let it help you. But don't let it become the first place you go, every time something feels unclear. Leave space for your own mind, because that's where real clarity forms. And here's the question I genuinely love your answer to. Do you use AI because you want answers, or because it changes how you feel? Fire.